Good evening. My name is Tony Mactutis, and this is the presentation of my final project for UW's Android certificate. My basic idea here is that I work as a volunteer part-time for a TV station. And so although I primarily do marketing for them, I've always had it in my mind that I would like to do an app for them. They already have an Android app which has a program schedule, but it takes a lot of clicks to get to it, so you have to really want to do it. And the program schedule doesn't have any way to search the shows. So I wanted to do those two things, and since I work in marketing, I really wanted to make this a tool that would work for marketing. Ever since I saw my first Android phone and the home screen widgets, I thought that was a really cool feature, and I ought to be able to put that to use to put something on the home screen that would keep the user engaged. So what's a home screen widget or an app widget? Most people know about them from the clock or one that displays the weather. Basically it sits on the home screen. It's not very obtrusive. It updates itself periodically. It updates itself just enough so that the user glances at it whenever they turn the phone on. So the first thing I'll do is show you my widget, and then I'll explain how it works. So you can see it here on the right. Basically, we're just displaying a little bit of program data. Just enough to provide something useful. In this case, it tells you what show is on right now, and it gives you the synopsis of it. And for more detailed information, then you can click on it. Now, I went back and forth on how many shows to cycle through. Should I do the whole day, or just, maybe 4 hours, or just prime time, or just the one that's on right now? And for right now, I just have it showing cycling through the next 2 shows. But to get more information, all you have to do is click on it, like you see here, and it will bring up the schedule for today. So that's what you see displayed. And then to get at more information, they usually have a synopsis for the program and then for the particular episode, and you can see that there. The other thing I really wanted to do, as I mentioned, was provide a nice search feature. So click on the search widget and then enter the search term, and it provides search suggestions. As you can see here. Now the app widgets are kind of a funny thing. They run on the home screen, so they're not under your direct control. You have to access them through a very limited API, and Google does that for a reason. They don't want you doing anything that's going to bog down the phone for other apps, which could happen because this thing is running all the time. So how do we structure the code? The only block here that you really absolutely have to have, besides the custom layout that runs on the home screen, is the broadcast receiver. But if you want more functionality, then you got to add some extra stuff to make it all work. In my case, I have a service that watches the clock and decides when to schedule updates of the database and refreshes of the display that's on the home screen. The data is downloaded from the internet via REST API, put in the database, and then I have some separate activities for doing searches. So the key design questions: how do you get the data? How do you store it and keep all those apps out there updated? And then how do you present it to the user in an eye-catching way when you only have a tiny area of the screen in which to present information? So the TV network has a REST API, but it's not public. Now I figured out how to use it, but if they were able to change the API, then every app out there that depends on it would break. So the solution to that is to have a separate server managed by me, and so I get the data from the TV station, I post it to my server, and then the apps come to me to get the data. The disadvantage for that is I have to keep that server up. and I can't go on vacation, and I can't get sick for a long time, or the apps won't work. So the solution I wanted to use was Firebase. So that's what I looked into first. So as you can see here over on the right, I actually implemented an app that gets the data from the TV station and then uploads it to Android Firebase. But I had some concerns about the amount of network utilization used and the amount of connections that you could maintain simultaneously. In order to have free service, it has to be limited to 100. So I couldn't just have every app out there continuously connected to the database. So in the end, I decided to put that aside for now. I may go back to it later. For now, I'm just using OK HTTP to go out, get the program data once a week, and then store a local copy of the schedule on the user's phone. Now, some of the difficulties here: app widgets and services are very tedious to debug. There's a lot of asynchronous stuff going on. App widgets have a very limited set of features. This was intentional. Those third-party APIs like Firebase, they provide a lot of functionality, but it can be difficult if you want to do something that's slightly outside of what they're designed to do. The other thing I found is that Google can change the Android API at any time and not tell you. And so whereas before you could just use alarms and schedule an alarm to do periodic events, you can't do that anymore because Google has made those alarms very imprecise, or inexact is what they say. So they're only accurate to within maybe 5 or 10 minutes, depending on your phone. Future work. I've got some ideas for a few more features. I may go back to using Firebase. But the main thing is testing, testing, testing. I want to be really careful because there's so much asynchronous behavior implemented here. I want to make sure that nothing can get messed up, because this app, even if I release it as something of my own, an unofficial app, it still represents the TV station. So that's the app. Like my other projects, this one was a lot of work, but I did learn a lot about Android in doing it. So do you have any questions?